Hello, it's me Pavlo, but if you like you can call me Paul. And today I'll be talking about the model I wanted to review for a really long time. And it's BQEYZ, or how they are pronounced by some people, BQEYZ model named Winter. I'm a big fan of BQEYZ models, like Spring 2 is still one of my most favorite models, because I like their interesting and emotional representation. For their price I think it's a great offer. I did reviews for summer and for autumn, of course, but unfortunately for the final season, winter, I didn't have an opportunity because the war started and in Ukraine and delivery was delayed, but finally I have an opportunity to test and review winter. And from what I've heard during my tests, it's still a model that really worth the money, and we'll talk about it today too. It's a hybrid model. Here used the big 13mm dynamic driver and the bone conductor unit, and all that is connected via two-way crossover, which is totally logical, and as usual is put into CNC machine shell and so on. So BQEYZ is always making good tuning of sound and also great shells, and in general doing their best to give you the maximum value. This model is not an exception. Price is $240, which of course is not super affordable, but at the same time it's not as expensive as it could be. So let's have a closer look. As you can see, package is nice, minimalistic, kind of interesting gray color with that swirl that reminds the shape of faceplates. On the back side we've got some characteristics like 38 ohms of impedance, 130 decibels of sensitivity, and 12mm dynamic drivers, sorry. And as you can see, it's 130 decibels, they are pretty sensitive, but impedance is 38 ohms, so they won't be super noise peaking. 5 to 40 kilohertz, because this bone conduction unit responsible for the extended treble. Inside of the box, let me remove the sleeve, go into the box, and inside the box we getting earpieces themselves. I'm really thankful to companies who use this regular foam and not that pseudo velvet. Case with accessories and additional accessories in the box, but here we've got mainly different papers like manual, warranty card, and actually manual, and a set of single flange silicone tips. Here we getting another two sets of tips with good practical metal organizer, pair of foams, stock cable, this one is Pentacon, but you can select an option you'd like, and the cleaning tool, which can also be handy sometimes. So in terms of design, they have that classical shape, really good, really interesting swirl, and actually you can see that here it's portrayed on the shell, it's a part of the shell, so this swirl and that green element on the faceplate. So they looks pretty modest, not bright, but at the same time really stylish. They have classical in-ear shape, so fitting in ears really well, at least into my ears. They have this complex vent hole on the inner side of earpiece, and it's good that they put it here on the rear side, so during the wind it won't get inside the shell like it happens with some earphones. Spout is average in terms of length, and the passive sound isolation is also like on the average level. Fit is good, wearing comfort is also good, but of course it depends on ear structure. There is a lip for holding the tips and protective grill, so all that elements I pay attention are not forgotten here, but like, you know, it was worth noting like 5 years ago, but nowadays we like almost in 100% cases getting all that elements at place. So it's the right earpiece and the right socket. So as you can see here, use the 2-pin connector and some interesting socket, probably so the connectors with bit recessed pins can be fit. But stock cable has absolutely classical traditional pins. They of course fitting here totally well and holding cable perfectly, so no issues here. Cable is nice, ear hooks formed, good interesting silver shielding with good insulation. It's not super soft, but on the softer side of things, despite of its thickness. So almost zero microphone effect, and that's good. Nice metal splitter with chin slider, and after the splitter it goes right just to Pentacon connector or whatever connector you will choose for yourself. As you can see, all external parts are done on absolutely great level. And of course, let's talk about the sound. I've burned them in for about 48 hours, but there were no big changes in sound signature. Main part here is to find the proper tips, and I've got subjectively best results with that black silicone tips that were available in that separate bag inside of the box, not the ones from organizer. But of course I encourage you to do more tests and try to find the tips that suit your tastes more. In terms of the sound, BQEYZ made an interesting solution. They just take good dynamic driver and tune it to like natural, almost natural bass and mids, and on top of that they've added that bone conducting driver to create better treble. So lows here are probably what you can expect from the 13mm driver when it's tuned not in a bass head way. Lows have a bit of accent, but that accent not that big. So it's not a bass head model. When it's necessary, you'll get a good slam, you get a good punch, pretty enjoyable and rather deep. But at the same time, they don't have that traditional average accent. So bass accent is below average of that we're getting into in modern day IEMs. For me, it's like a good amount of bass. I'm more a fan of impact and resolution, not the weight itself. But a lot of people, of course, like weighty bass, so probably it's not the model. But if you're looking for more natural type of signature, it can be a really good option. There is a slight elevation to make bass more foundational, but it's that type of bass that doesn't want to go to the first stage and overtake the whole representation. Really nice resolution, good amount of small nuances and details, and pretty good impact when it's necessary. So let's see two examples for the low frequencies. First one, it's the Glitch Mob, a dream within a dream. I'm kind of retro guy, so where was this album released? 2012, if I remember right. But still pretty interesting electronic music with nice bass foundation, and actually this model delivers a good amount of bass and impact to me. But I understand that a lot of people who enjoy this music would like to prefer more low frequencies. And the second example, a bit more actually not a bit, it's really more complicated. It's the Ondekoza track named Odaiko, and probably every audiophile heard this band or collective or ensemble, how to name them, and at least heard and maybe owned some records in their collection, because it's Japanese taiko drums And they are a great test of mid frequencies and low frequencies, because they have flute, that traditional, and also a lot of different drums. Big one, smaller ones, huge one, and they all require good technical performance, both on bass and mid frequencies, to give you proper sense of resonance and proper sense of that big drum. And actually that's what you're getting with this track and this earphones. Nice, well delivered punch. It's not overwhelming like in more bass heavy models, but at the same time bass stays more controlled and doesn't lose details when, like it happens with some earphones that make accent on the low frequencies. Mids are also what I prefer to hear from the dynamic driver. It's like it has normal detalization, but not trying to be focused on the micro contrast, and at the same time it has a really good body, really good weight distribution, nice emotions and dynamics. At the same time, this earphones doesn't try to be like super forward. There is no typical big accent on the upper mids. It's present, but it's not as big as traditional, and that makes female vocal a bit more sparkling and engaging. Male vocals are also nice, especially those who benefit from additional weight. You know, I've read absolutely different opinions about these earphones, and some reviews said that they're lacking weight on mids, but it's definitely not in my case, so I'm just describing my experience, and I can't say that they are thin on mids. I'm getting a really good, proper amount of weight. Another their strong part, it's a pretty big spacious stage. Most probably it's because of good treble performance here and really good treble extension that we're getting here thanks to that bone conductor driver. But you get a lot of airness, a lot of spaciousness, good width, depth, and everything is properly located on the imaginary stage. And examples, of course we need examples. First one is Bach, Toccata and Fugue in D minor by Raymond Daveluy. I used this track in some previous examples, and it's analog audiophile collection by Nagra. That means that record quality is really great here. And of course, to show the full potential of this track, we need like much more technical earphones, or you know, it's even better will be some headphones that will deliver you that sense of space, or even better speakers, of course, the best possible choice second to hearing it live. But these earphones have good resolution on the mid frequencies, so it sounds pretty realistic. They're lacking a bit of additional deep bass resonance and weight on the low frequencies, but not too much, and it's still, to my taste, it's better than additional weight but achieved by compromising the resolution. So here you're getting better defined low frequencies. And still, like anyway, pretty impressive sound of both mid registers of organ and low registers. And another track, my favorite Metallica song, For Whom the Bell Tolls. And everything is here. Nice bell at the beginning, nice guitar part, vocal, pretty readable bass line, and nice percussion. Of course, as nice as it was recorded, because it's not the perfection in terms of record quality, but still better than what Metallica will do later. And in terms of treble, also I've seen, like, you know, opposite reviews. Like, some say that treble here is really comfortable, others say that treble here is almost unbearable. My opinion is somewhere in between, because it's pretty honest in terms of treble, but it's not adding additional energy to the high frequencies, and that means that even on the sharper recorded tracks, they will sound sharp as what was recorded, but not like going to total sibilance. Maybe if some people have some sensitivity to particular areas of the treble, it can be too much for them. And also you need to keep in mind that they have above average treble extension, and that makes them more critical for the quality of record, because on a lot of modern records upper treble sounds like really average, and on some poorly recorded stuff it's better to use earphones with less extension in the high frequencies. So examples. First one, it's Arne Domnérus, Over the Rainbow. I really recommend you this album if you don't have it in your audiophile collection, because it's like top-notch audiophile recording. It's from one hand really superbly made. It's a live concert in, I suspect it's nightclub, and it's recorded with all that audience, with that dingling of glasses and other things, and from another hand it's really good performance and really well recorded. Arne Domnérus and another members of his band doing their best, and this track is a really good example because it has like extended introduction where nothing happens. Band just tune some instruments, people are talking, probably eating, drinking something, but then they start slow part of the track and faster develop to the main tune, and it sounds really great with good sense of atmosphere, with good immersion into this track, and it requires really good treble performance, and these earphones deliver it. Ideally I'd like to get more details on the mid frequencies and bit drier bass, but it's more like of nitpicking. For this price tier it's a good option. And the second example, another track that sounds better to me with something more natural and drier. It's Dream Theater, Endless Sacrifice, but these earphones also deliver it pretty well. Both guitars and that slow part at the beginning with Labrie vocal sounds nice, and faster part also sounds great, and especially they are good in representing you percussions. And of course this track is saturated by different percussions thanks to Mr. Portnoy. Speaking about the comparisons, to be honest I can't recall a lot of models in this price tier. One model that came to my mind, it's Tangzhou Zetan Wu Heyday Edition. I hope I didn't make any mistakes. So compared to Tangzhou has a bit faster bass, but it's a bit more on the drier side of things, but also having more weight. So here I'm getting a bit more natural bass. In terms of mids, probably it's a slight win for Tangzhou, but for the treble and the imaginary stage, this model definitely shows a better results, at least to my taste. Compared to Autumn, we're getting here more defined, more detailed, more mature treble, like it was the main thing that was like improved compared to the Autumn. And at the same time, treble is a bit better balanced in terms of quantity to my ears. And compared to Spring, they are more mature. Spring are energetic and emotion forward. It's really fun and enjoyable, but it's not like 100% natural. This model is slightly closer to natural representation, and because of that sounds more mature with better stage and better control overall. So great addition to BQEYZ lineup, to their Seasons lineup, really having for me Seasons is like, you know, showcasing different types of sound signature, and this model is another great example, and this is the model really worth your attention. Thank you for listening, thank you for your attention, and of course have a great day.